just within the last hour, we got some excerpts from the president's speech. One of the excerpts says that he wants infrastructure to potentially be a moment of bipartisanship. We heard this in Davos. What do you make of that? Are any Democrats going to get on board with infrastructure?
Well, we heard all through 2016 that infrastructure was what most Democrats wanted President Trump to start out with in his first year in office. So I think there's a lot of bipartisan support around the country for infrastructure.
But in terms of how they're going to fund it, right? I was doing some reporting on this and talking to a lot of Democrats, and they're uneasy, Congressman, you know this, with the notion of private investment and private capital being a mechanism of funding. Do you think there's enough centrist Democrats emboldened by the deal that was made during the back and forth of the short-term extension to kind of bring together these centrists to get this done?
I hope so, but I have concerns, too, about the idea of public-private, because that mostly works only in our most dense urban areas where you have high traffic conditions, whether we're talking about rail, airports, highways, or even waterway density. And so,
cyber?
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is going to be a hard puzzle to solve. But I'm completely constructive in my view that infrastructure would be good and that it needs to be bipartisan. So we'll just have to see what the White House comes up with.
Many market analysts in their notes in the past couple of days saying that they don't expect too much market volatility off of tonight's speech. Senior administration officials predicting this will be a more unifying message. But look, in terms of deregulatory policies, you know, the House passed the Financial Choice Act. You, of course, a member of that committee.
Right.
The Senate just advancing a measure on community banking regulatory relief. When do you think community banks, mid-sized banks, could get some Dodd-Frank relief?
I hope in the first half of this year we're able to get the Senate, our Senate leader, Mr. McConnell, to bring up the Crapo bill and get it time on the Senate floor. And the House will respond promptly once we see that action in the Senate. And I'm optimistic that can be done here in the first half of the year.
And no qualms about what's in the Crapo bill?
I think the Crapo bill is modest, but covers a lot of ground and will produce benefits for consumers and for community banks.
In terms of other issues, of course, the big hot topic being immigration. We just were speaking with Senator Tillis in terms of potential bipartisanship on the DACA issue. Are we going to get some type of deal by March 5th?
I hope that when we're on retreat this week with the House and Senate members, that the Republican retreat is this week, and I hope we come ashore on precisely the kind of views that we have on an equitable deal for our dreamers and the other components of a immigration deal. I want to compliment the White House on consistently having the four principles that were agreed to on a bicameral, bipartisan basis, and then put forward a concrete proposal last week. So I believe that the White House is trying to be constructive and bipartisan in their approach.
Help me out, just under a minute, for our global audience.
Right.
What happens next? So you're going to go to Statuary Hall, and then what happens? You all walk in together? Where do you go from here? Because we're so close to the speech.
Right. So get ready to walk into the House chamber.
Okay.
I have my good friend and colleague who's saving me a seat on the back row because I'm down here with you.
Seats,
absolutely.
Yeah. Who's your guest tonight?
My guest tonight is my wife, Martha Hill, and our Attorney General from the state of Arkansas, Leslie Rutledge.
Awesome. And then you guys all walk in. All right. Well, we thank you very much for you having a seat saver to come on Bloomberg, Congressman.